Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, License to Roam. You can follow me on Twitter/X at Edward Stratman. And if you enjoy the video, I would really appreciate a like, subscribe, and any comments as I continue to grow the channel. Right, for this analysis, I'll be focusing on Barcelona's Andreas Christensen, who was excellent in the first half of Barcelona's clash with Real Madrid before being subbed off at halftime. While it was unclear whether this was due to injury or a tactical decision, it was certainly a key point in deciding the Clasico. Obviously, with Xavi deploying Christensen in midfield recently during an injury crisis, where he's produced a string of solid performances, he yet again demonstrated his ability and tactical versatility on the grand stage, making him a real asset for Barca. Obviously, to start with the analysis of his latest key contribution against Real Madrid, where the 28-year-old came up big for his team once more, in and out of possession on the big stage. There's no better place to begin than with his goal. Obviously, giving his team a great start here and grabbing himself his first goal since last April. He showed what a weapon he is from set-piece situations, obviously with his aerial class and ability to read the ball's flight and trajectory. Obviously with Lunin misjudging this one and him in a mismatch against Cruz at the back post there, it was really key how he smartly stood a few steps off him just to gain that dynamic advantage and to give himself a nice run up over the stationary Toni Kroos, who had no answer for Christensen, who towered home with aplomb. Obviously this strategy they continued to use throughout the first half, Barcelona, and they really should have probably made more of it, to be honest, because it was just such a sort of easy win for them. But yeah, really great passage there and just showed what a weapon he is. And obviously in possession, the way he'd obviously form overloads and triangles and just support attacks really nicely so they could refresh and recycle play as well as open up the field was really impressive. And this is a fine example of that, where he's forming the 3v2 to be the free man. And then he can open up the entire field of play, dribble, pass, draw players because he's press resistant. So that was a key foundation for obviously Barcelona getting a foothold and him being so effective, and just really took advantage of Bellingham pressing up high, which left that space for him to operate in, which we'll touch on later. Another situation there where Bellingham had pressed high. This leaves Christensen free. He can obviously be the spare man there to create the 4v3 and yeah, receiving a forward facing posture and yeah, sort of wreak havoc on the ball, do what he pleases, obviously to progress the ball up the field. So once again, supporting the attack nicely and just shows his smart game IQ and how he performed his roles and responsibilities really well in possession, very disciplined, tactically aware, and just so intelligent. So the next one here, where he's obviously the free man, obviously Real Madrid are focusing on the other Barcelona players there, and he offers a perfect outlet for De Jong. Finds him in that forward-facing posture with momentum, and obviously with his teammates pinning markers. Christensen then is afforded the space and time to dribble upfield and unleash a dangerous shot, which could have easily scored on another day. So just really nicely ghosting into that space, avoiding the cover shadow of the Real Madrid presser there, and then making a real impact in the final third. Obviously another situation where he's formed that free man. Notice Bellingham's pressed high. That's given him the space. Obviously Real Madrid are locked in with their other pressing assignments, so Christensen duly exploits that. They probably thought in many ways, Madrid, that he was sort of the man that they were happy to leave free, but he certainly cleverly evaded the press and did some good stuff in possession as well to keep the attack ticking over and help them beat that first phase of pressure. Just always helping them get numerical and positional superiority in the build-up. He was a real asset. Same situation here where Barcelona have opened that passing lane for him and he can duly be found there. Obviously they're pinned and drawed the Real Madrid pressing unit, so yeah, he neatly ducks into that space there, very awake to any weaknesses in the opposition block, and just shows great judgment, reading of the play and noticing what his teammates and opponents are doing there as well. There's another nice situation where he's helping to form the 5v4 there, really clever on the ball. He waits for that press to be drawn out, and at the last minute he finds Koundé there out wide, so he's got oceans of space to surge into down the flank there. So just another nice example of his comfort in possession and how important he is for Barcelona in many ways. And obviously his importance extend to when he was directly getting on the ball. He helped pin and draw markers so then teammates could find room as well, and here he's drawing Modric there, and that helps Frenkie de Jong get free just behind that first line of pressure, which means he can turn and have all that room to run into against the retreating sort of backpedaling midfield line of Real Madrid, who are worried about their own assignments. So just really helpful for de Jong, and they dovetailed quite nicely, little alterations and positions and nuances and just counter movements to help each other find space and Barcelona to progress up the field, always asking questions and altering reference points, and just kept them guessing quite nicely. It's a nice situation there. He's obviously pinning Bellingham. Obviously his teammates are helping as well occupy their markers, and that leaves de Jong free in a really great central area where he can dribble, pass, draw players, just do what he does best, wreak havoc in those central areas with the whole field of play opened up to him. Same situation there, where he's essentially drawn Cruz there to open the lane to Frenkie, and then impressively he sort of just uses his frame to block Cruz from pressing and sort of puts a nice little block on, and that just leaves de Jong with oceans of space to dribble upfield and wreak havoc. And obviously Cruz is impeded by Christensen there, so he can't really run back and challenge because he's been impeded nicely there. So this was a passage before he actually ended up turning the ball over and making that amazing last-ditch tackle to make amends for his mistake. But yeah, just a really nice bit of play there, how he'd use his physicality as well to help his teammates flourish. Another nice one there where he's pinning the marker strategically, and that opens passing lane perfectly to dropping Lewandowski between the lines. So just amplifying his menace there in a calculated sort of way, and he just impacted proceedings in so many ways. Another situation there, perfectly opening the passing lane to De Jong with Madrid tied up with the marking assignments. Puts De Jong in a perfect position to obviously receive and then do what he does best with the ball at his feet, the little master. So, and obviously another notable thing is Christensen's obviously impeding his man there, so they can't instantly press Frankie because he uses himself as a little blocking shield there. So just a nice little nuance there to really amplify his worth and his teammates' ability to impact. Another thing that was interesting you'd see a couple of times was when Lewandowski would drop deep into midfield, sort of do the opposite movements and rotate, which could be used pretty nicely in the future. You know, if they needed to go long and Lewandowski can use his skills dropping deep and Christensen can win headers and they can regain the second ball high up to attack again, it could be something they might want to use moving forward, because it's certainly an asset that could be explored, which many other teams have done, using those towering big men in advanced areas to really help them breathe life into the attack and bypass pressing structures if they're struggling. Obviously the defensive side of the game did a very good job of sort of keeping Jude Bellingham quiet in that first half especially. Obviously the Englishman really changed the game in the second half, but he didn't quite have the impact he would have desired in the first half, and that owed plenty to Christensen's pressing and the physicality and how he sort of imposed himself on him with his touch tight back to goal pressing when he was in his designated area of operation. So that one there shows it perfectly. Presses when he sees the trigger of the pass coming towards him and his opponent dropping deep, uses those long legs and that frame to impede him, doesn't give him any space to turn and face, and he neatly nips in to win possession back in a great area there for Barcelona. Same situation there, followed him deep when he was his man, especially in the high pressing phases, and yeah, he gives him nowhere to go in that situation. Didn't mind giving him a little bit of room as long as he couldn't turn and face him, and really sort of kept him in front of him, because once you let him turn you, he uses his power and pace and strength to really make you pay. But yeah, Christensen managed him really smartly there. Another situation where he's timed that press beautifully. He's noticed Bellingham's drop deep. Sometimes he'd give him that separation to give the ball holder the perception he had time and space, but then he'd really close in on him and use those long legs in his frame to put him under pressure, and that was a great example of that. Won the ball back twice in this situation, just to show how important that ball winning prowess is, and he's that rangy frame and that arm on, making him such a really massive presence in that midfield area, which actually transfers really nicely from his defensive game into midfield areas. And there's another sort of testament to his intelligence, communicating the crossover of Bellingham. So he takes Valverde and De Jong takes on the Bellingham assignment. So just getting little things like that spot on. And obviously that was key further up the pitch too, where Rodrigo and Bellingham and Madrid's attackers would interchange with their fluid structure, and that saw him take on various different players at times, but he was awake to it and aware to it and constantly scanning and surveying his surroundings so he knew what course of action to take. There's that wicked tackle after he turned over possession, just to show the timing and the judgment and the execution in the tackle to really make a goal-saving tackle there. So that was kind of his last major action before being substituted, but just underlined what a great game he had, even though that resulted from a mistake. But he was really important in that first half and probably went a little bit under the radar just how good he was. There's obviously the team average position maps. He's sort of hidden there, but you can see him in that central midfield area, obviously before being subbed off. And yeah, it was just such a key influence in this one with his experience, getting the fundamentals right, both in and out of possession, and just once again demonstrating how important he is with his physicality, technical ability, intelligence of movement, and just reading of the play to really make sure he's a great option for Barcelona, both when starting games and coming off the bench. So that's the analysis on Christensen. Let us know what you think of his game and how he played, and what do you think his future holds at Barcelona, because he's certainly proven what a key piece he can be in any situation. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Would really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video, and have a great day. Stay tuned for the next analysis.